Hello and welcome back. This is Malbeefance, and you are watching my replay of Strategic Command World War I. I am playing the Central Powers, in case you haven't already figured that out, and I've got the computer playing the Entente forces France, Britain, Russia, and a couple of minor allies Serbia, Montenegro, Albania. So last turn was pretty docile. The computer began its winter offensives in both the east and west, and they really didn't go very far because that's what happens when you do winter offensives with World War I technology against a equally technologically advanced World War I army. However, it did set me up in a couple of spots where I was able to get a good counterattack and do some damage. Um, this French unit here, the 9th French Infantry Corps, they got a pretty decent trouncing by these two German infantry corps here, the 12th Württemberg and the 9th or the 11th Infantry. Um, but they'll recover from that. Nothing really going on out here in the North Sea. One of my submarines encountered some mines and this British destroyer out here. And we'll see how the computer responds to that. Over on the Eastern Front, not a lot of fighting, but the computer moved a large number of forces into my Polish pocket, which wasn't really a smart move. Um, I understand the desire not to lose these major objectives here. Let me hide the units so you can see them better. Um, Ivangorod, Warsaw, the fortress here, whose name I can never pronounce correctly. Um, these are major objectives, and the computer knows that the national morale objectives are the whole point of the game. That's the coinage, okay, for victory or defeat. So I can understand wanting to defend them, but the position is now untenable, okay. The computer does not have a decent likelihood of holding me off from closing this pocket. Okay, it's not putting enough effort into preventing me from doing this. So the defensive position, in my opinion, is no longer tenable, and it needs to pull those units out of there. But instead, it shoved more units in there. So we'll see how that plays out. And then down here on the Caucasus front, we're still squaring off. The typhus epidemic or typhoid epidemic is still occurring among the Ottoman and Serbian forces, and we'll see how that plays out. All right, so enough of the background stuff. I want to keep these episodes short, so let's go ahead and advance the turn. So, decision for the Austrian player. Nationalist figures in Italy are calling for war. Do we wish to hand over Trieste and Trento and Bruneck to Italy? No, we do not. You want the land, you better come and take it. Typhus epidemic spreads throughout Serbia. Ouch. And now the Ottomans get their turn with the typhus epidemic. Okay, not as bad as it could have been. I mean, I've seen it where it's damaged up to a dozen units. Fighting on the Western Front ceases on Christmas Day. This actually happened. This was historical. The way I understand the history, a bunch of British soldiers heard German soldiers singing Christmas carols. They started singing, and it led to some heads popping up over the trenches. Excuse me. And then the soldiers came out onto no man's land under a unilateral ceasefire at the infantryman level, and they exchanged gifts and things like that. I don't expect you'll ever see anything like that again in warfare. That was probably the last time you will ever see such a beautiful thing like that in the midst of this kind of horror. All right. Ottoman scientists had development infantry warfare up to 35%, and trench warfare up to 66%. There's our ledger for the upcoming turn. Excuse me. All right, so the winter storms have calmed down a little bit. Here it comes. France declares war on Belgium. And the British public is not happy about it. The French public is not happy about it. All right, so Belgian forces deploy. Serbian forces are reinforcing. Computer is thinking. Russian forces redeploying. Now, I've mentioned in earlier episodes, France declaring war on Belgium is definitely an ahistorical event, but it is something that the programmers have put in the game to enable the computer to try and outflank German forces on the Western Front in the event that the German forces do exactly what I am doing, playing defensive. So here comes the anticipated search for my submarines. Pretty large British anti-submarine force, mostly light cruisers so far. Couple of destroyers. So my ambush worked. We were able to do a little bit of damage, not a lot. It is expensive to repair warships. So any damage I can do to the Royal Navy or the French forces is welcome. And this I had mentioned last time. Here comes the setup with the Black Seas Fleet. There will be a vessel here. I believe it's going to be a pre-dreadnought, but we've managed to do a considerable amount of damage to that Russian submarine. Here comes the offensive into Belgium. We'll see how well the Entente forces do over frozen ground. Excuse me. So there goes Brussels. Hits along the German front there. And now we're seeing fighting in the Caucasus. Russia's trying to take advantage of their early advantage there. Some strikes back against my pincer movement. Russians redeploying. I don't believe the French and British forces are done yet in Belgium. They are redeploying, but I think we might see a couple more attacks before the turn is over. The Russians trying to strengthen the eastern line in Galicia. A little more movement behind the French lines there. All right, the Navy moving out of the danger zone. All right, looks like that's going to be it for attacks this turn by the computer. And now it's just entrenching a couple of units. Belgian government moves to Antwerp. Alright, Entente forces occupy Lemnos. That's a scripted event. Alright, that's my raid against Serbian convoys. I left the submarine sitting there, shouldn't have done that. Soldiers of the 130th Baluchi Regiment mutiny in Bombay. Alright, so my earlier payment to Indian rebels paid off. Alright, calculating supply for me. And we're back to heavy winter conditions. Belgian First Corps is destroyed. Now Germany picks up Belgium as a minor neutral, so Germany can use their production points to repair and purchase Belgian units. Alright, so now here, this is a note letting me know, hey, because the Italians are talking about war, the Austrians are mobilizing some troops, and also letting me know we're going to need more troops. Fall of Basra is a painful loss for the Ottomans. However, if we wish to raise some volunteers, they are available. Yes, I want to spend the money for volunteers near Baghdad because we need all the help we can get. And now German reinforcements. The brand new, spanking, shining, brand new Koenig Dreadnought. Another submarine. And that detachment that I ordered earlier. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Oh, that was a big mistake. Alright. I clicked the wrong button and I deployed him here. I meant to deploy him all the way down here. Alright, well, it's an easy enough fix. Alright, so now by attacking Belgium in winter and in bad weather, the computer has given me has given me an absolutely gem and an advantage, and that is this. I can move up into the Ardennes and still have enough movement points left to entrench the troops. And I get to occupy Liege without having to fight for it. Okay, so now fill in the holes behind the line. Now this is also where time starts working against me. Basically what the computer is telling me is that it is in a position where it can go on the offensive. And I just hosed that up too. I didn't need to entrench him. I needed to reinforce him. Oops. Hopefully that does not come back to haunt me. Okay, so that's two mistakes I've made this turn because I'm not paying attention. Alright, so we get these guys, they're elite reinforcements. Alright. Now, I'm going to do something that may seem controversial here. I got to move these naval units out of here first before I do something with the Belgians. Alright, now I know I got an anti-submarine force up here, but I have no idea what's going on behind it, so I'm still going to play it just a little bit cautious. Oh, there we go. Yep, that's what I thought. They moved some forces in behind my submarines to try and catch the submarines if I retreated them. I was anticipating something like that might happen. So let me zoom back in here. Alright, so we weren't able to do anything there. Get him out of there. I'll have him attack before he retreats. Do some damage to that destroyer. He can attack the light cruiser. Oh, nice. And then once again, get him into an ambush spot. Now, there we go. All right. He can't reach. All right, so in that case, I'm just going to move him there. Now, I'm going to come back to the Navy, but there's something I want to do before I forget. These guys are painfully exposed. So what I want to do, I shouldn't have moved. Well, he wouldn't have been able to make it there anyway. Okay, so that was no choice. All right. I'm going to transport King Albert out of Belgium. And I'm going to move him up here so that he can provide command and control for any of the Belgian forces that I'm able to rescue. I'm going to try and move the rest of these guys out, do the same thing with them. And there's no point in staying here to try and fight. They're woefully outnumbered. So I'm going to save as many of them as I can and bring them around here. And then if I'm able to get enough Belgian territory back, I can go ahead and I can start building Belgian units. But I probably shouldn't have to. Eventually I'm going to have enough German infantry corps to where I shouldn't need to purchase additional Belgian units. But having the headquarters to provide command and control for what Belgian units I do have will be nice. Alright, so let's get back to the High Seas Fleet. Now what I want to do is I want to try and take out that light cruiser. Now this is where you get to see how unrealistic naval warfare is in the game. But it's unavoidable. And you're about to see a naval battle that takes place over the course of 2 weeks, as opposed to 2 days, which is what the normal would be. Okay, so he's retreated. I really don't want to expose anybody else. It's bad enough I've exposed them without a lot of major backup. So I'll move the destroyers in to help cover for them. Get that light cruiser out there to help too. Repair that cruiser. So I'll have the dreadnought in the back. Hopefully it'll be a surprise for them. Get the rest of the fleet as far out there as I can to help out. Now what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to fight a rear guard action to try and get the fleet back to where it's fully concentrated. Finish the repairs on the 2 ships that I had in port for that purpose. Alright, nothing else for me to do on the Western Front. Down here on the developing Italian front, we'll go ahead and get these 2 garrisons into position for the coming war with Italy. Excuse me. Alright. So my submarine is low on supplies now, so we'll go ahead and bring him back. Whoops, who do you run into? Oh, there is a British submarine in the Adriatic. Okay. do some damage. Luckily, my Austrian destroyer has avoided any damage. Okay, anything I want to do on the Serbian front? Yeah, let's see what we can do to do damage there. They got some pretty good odds. They might be able to wipe him out because he's got no place to retreat to. So we scout him out. Attack with him first. Didn't do as much damage as I had hoped. Just 1 for 1. 2 to 2 there. This is not looking good. Yep. We didn't lose anything, but he only took 1 point of damage. So let's do this. Swap those units out. There we go. Yay. Alright. So we were able to wipe out that unit. So that'll help not only with lowering Serbian morale, but it also will help with raising Bulgarian interest in joining the war. Alright, so my submarine's not, or excuse me, my Ottoman destroyer, my Turkish destroyer is not at full strength yet. So I really don't want to take it up against a submarine, but I'm going to do it anyway. We may get lucky. Alright, I don't think we did any damage, but we did cause it to retreat. So can I drop mines? No, I can't drop mines. Alright. So now I know I got a ship here, but I can't see it. So I don't want to move anybody into any of these hexes because I don't want to get a meeting engagement surprise attack. That'll hurt me more than it will whoever's sitting there. So we'll let that be for now. And I've changed my mind about what I'm going to use this infantry corps for, the Turkish 2nd Corps. I'm going to have them come back here. I know that there are British Marines on Lemnos now, and the computer may use those in a Gallipoli campaign. So I want to have more than just that 1 infantry unit available, so I'm going to hold him in reserve. I'll go ahead and I'll move him over here, and I'll have them in position in case the computer tries landing. Alright, so we had a lot of Russian units attack this guy, this garrison sitting here, but they didn't do a whole lot of damage. So I can swap these guys. Now the reason I'm doing that, instead of bringing this infantry corps in, is because I wanted to bring the infantry corps to full strength first. Now that the typhus epidemic is over, I can go ahead and I can start working to strengthen up the defensive line here. Alright, so yeah, so they've only got 4 production points left. Nothing more I can do with that. Alright. Anybody else I can move? Not up there. Down here. Finish occupying the Sinai. Get the headquarters unit into Gaza. Keep moving these guys. So these 2 garrison units here, ultimately their goal is to occupy 1 unit here, 1 unit here, prevents these 2 rebel units from forming, and then eventually I will replace this infantry corps with another garrison so that I can get him into the fighting. Now over here on the Persian Gulf front, continue moving these guys up. Have him entrench. zoom out. And that should do it for the Ottomans. I know I didn't leave anything left to do technology for the Ottomans or order new units. I got to get past the typhus epidemic. So now that that event is done and I'm able to get the Ottoman units up to full strength, then I can start putting more production points into research and development and reinforcements for them. Alright, so the Russians have given me a little bit of a gift here on the Eastern Front. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move up. Oh, 1 to 3 on him. No, I apologize. I know you guys are tuning in for action, but I'm playing it cautious here. Alright. And we will continue to push forward here. Oh man, what a beautiful opportunity. Alright, so I'm going to cut communications on the Russian side of the Bug River. What do we got for odds here? 1 to 3, 2 to... Oops. I did not mean to do that. That was an accident, but since it already happened... Alright, well, in that case... we'll go ahead and we'll push forward. I did not mean to have that German unit attack the Russian one that was here and raid them. I accidentally clicked the wrong button, and so since they made the attack, I just went with it. So we lucked out. We've got raid them. We've been able to make an advance. We were able to wipe out one Russian infantry corps. And it actually allows me, now that we've shortened the front line here, it allows me to move these guys up. So, okay, so that is, that's 3 mistakes I've made this turn. Nope, 4. 4 mistakes I've made this turn. Let's hope they don't come back to haunt me, because remember what Clausewitz once said. The person who loses the war, or excuse me, the person who wins the war is the person who makes the least number of mistakes. Alright, so I want to get that cavalry corps out of there before they get chewed up any more than they already are. And I can reinforce them. Yeah, I'm taking that opportunity right there. So he can't move out of that position. Alright, no worries. Okay, so I'm going to keep him there for the eventual attack on Warsaw. Now, moving the garrison troops up is not the brightest of ideas, but I need to keep pushing to close this gap. Alright, and continue to move, slowly moving up the artillery. Eventually I'm going to have them down here in this hex. Which reminds me, hang on, did he attack? No, he did not attack. Okay, so that means I can do this. Pull him back, get him his elite reinforcements. Yeah, because once a unit attacks, there's not much more I can do with it. Alright, get him up to full strength. That is pretty much everything for the Eastern Front. Zoom out here, double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. The Germans have got 77 production points left. I'm buying another detachment with it in order to make sure I got plenty of units along the coming Italian front. The Austrians, okay, they're okay for their, it's not great, but they are okay for research and development at the moment, so I'm going to use what production they've got to go ahead and purchase a infantry corps that will eventually go either on the Adriatic coast or on the Italian front, depending on how things develop. The 50 points that they have got left, I am going to use that to go ahead and speed up their logistics technology. Obviously, that helps with supplies. So, gas and shell production and logistics are the two things that go into resupplying your artillery. And then obviously artillery weapons is for making them better at doing damage. Alright, that is it for this episode. Thanks again if you made it this far watching. Please leave a like if you would. Please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps grow the channel. Thanks again, and leave your questions and comments down in the comments section. I'll be happy to respond when I see them, and we will see you on the next one.